what about debit cards? And this is hidden fines for spending on them.
When you go abroad, your debit or credit card gets the near-perfect exchange rate, and then most of them add a 3% non-sterling exchange rate on top of it. So you pay a little bit more. That's fine, that's the exchange rate. But some debit cards, those I call the debit cards from hell, also add what I call a fine every time you spend them. Lloyds, Halifax, Santander, Bank of Scotland, TSB add up to £1.50 on top each time you spend on them. RBS and NatWest have a similar version that means for smaller costs they're effectively adding that. So you buy something that costs £5 and you're charged at least £6.50 for it.
So how do you know if yours is one of those cards that does...
Lloyds, Halifax, Santander, Bank of Scotland, all their debit cards, TSB, all their main debit cards, I should say, RBS, NatWest, I would not use for spending abroad. If you want to spend abroad, where you can get a cheap prepaid card, you can get cash, or I always find the best way, we've discussed this before, the Halifax Clarity, the Creation Everyday credit cards, pay them off in full every month, and they give you near-perfect exchange rates in every country, and they have much lower fees. But it's bizarre that it's the debit cards.
Yes.
The debit cards I'm warning about, not the credit cards. Yeah. Credit cards, you just got to make sure you pay them off in full, so there's no interest.
OK.
Identical medicines.
Right. Now, you'll know that when we're talking about medicines, we often say, actually, there's generic products that have exactly the same active ingredient that does the same stuff, and they're much cheaper. We've talked about that before. And, of course, you should look at that. The only thing to be careful of is if you have allergies, the other ingredients might be different. But here's what people don't know. In some cases, you're paying 3 times as much, not for the same active ingredient, for exactly the same tablet. When you go into pharmacies, look on the side for the PL number, the product licence number. If the product's licence number is the same, then according to the Royal Pharmaceutical Society, it's the same tablet. For example, in Boots and Wilkinson's, both have their own cold and flu drug, Max Strength. Same product code in Boots, £3.29, in Wilkinson's, £1. I've been into stores and found next to each other identical hay fever tablets. One was made by Galpharm, one was the store's own brand. Turn them onto their side. One cost £4, one cost £1. Same PL number, same tablet. So you're paying 4 or 3 times as much for the packaging because it's exactly the same tablet made in the same factory.
Well.
Oh, my gosh, I can't believe...
Check the PL number.
PL number?
The PL, it's on the side of the pack. Have a look next time you go into a pharmacy at those type of cold and flu, headache tablets, all those. They all have a PL number.
Wow.
If it's the same, it's the same.
OK, what's this? A £1,000 fine for an out-of-date photo?
Right. 2 million people are currently driving with photo driving licences where their photo has a date where it is invalid on it. And if you get stopped by the police, you can be fined up to £1,000. Oh. Your licence is valid, the photo isn't valid. If you've got one of those... Now, the DVLA do warn you of this, but lots of people miss it. 2 million are driving without them. Then you need to go get your photo updated. It's £14 on the website, or if you go on their website, £17 by post, £21 in the post office. But there are millions of people, so get your driving licences out. Check the valid date number. I think it's the 4B section. I should have checked that before I came on. But anyway, if your date is out of date, go renew it. You won't be fined for renewing it. You may be fined if you get stopped and it's out of date and the police officer notices it. So that would be a big shock for people.
Have a look today.
Just for the photo.
Finally, credit cards.
Look, big final warning, and this one's important. Many people just pay the minimum repayments on the credit card. If you do that and you're 30 years old, you've got £3,000 debt at 17.9% and you pay the minimum repayments, you will be 57 before you clear the card, and it will cost you £4,000 in interest. Minimum repayments are designed to barely cover the interest, so you never actually clear the debt. Now, people will say to me, I can't afford to pay more than that. I get it. But if your minimum payment right now on that £3,000 is 70 quid, pay a fixed £70 every month, don't allow it to drop. You clear it in 5 years, so over 20 years quicker at a cost of 1,500 quid. I've done that quickly. If you're paying minimum repayments, go read. There's more information on the website, as with everything I've just talked about now.
Oh, well done. Thank you very much indeed, Martin.
You just have to know about these things, isn't it?
That's why he's here.
I know. Well,
That's
thank goodness
why he's
for
here.
you.
Thankfully.
Thank you.